any party. Now there we go. And you Nigeria, it was a move. It will be having me to go. We told me carry me to go for better Nigeria. Having me to go. We told me carry me to go for better Nigeria.
Once again, let's put a hand of applause to our president. We have come here today, like they have said, people from different walks of life in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Ogoni. People from different parts, we are here to welcome our new president. Nothing can stop that. I don't know whichever prophetic voice you hear, but when God says yes, nobody can say no. You see, God wants us to know that there is a Moses. If God can use Martin Luther King Jr., if God can use Ken Saro-Wiwa, if God can use Obama to show to the world that when we come together, victory is won. This hour, victory is won for Nigeria on behalf of Peter OBI. And we pray, can we all stretch your hands? We're going to do it together. Just stretch your hands. We're going to ask God. Like Lazarus and Jesus, we are praying that let the God, Jesus Christ, who wept for Lazarus, weep for Nigeria, weep for our brother Peter. Let God use him to raise Nigeria up. We've been dead and stinky and smelly. Now is the time, and nobody can stop it. Father, we all gather together. From the north, from the east, from the west. We gather together to hold hands together with our brother Peter OBI, that nothing can stop him. And I take authority against every diabolical, demonic power from the north, from the west, from the east, from the south that will stand in his way. I command them to bow in the name of Jesus Christ. Let victory be won, because by his cross and resurrection, God has set us free. God gave Peter, he gave him authority. Say, Peter, I give you the key. Whatever bind, ever remain bind. Whatever loose, ever remain loose. And that is the key. The Nigerian people are giving to our brother Peter OBI to loose Nigeria from every yoke. Enough is enough. And so, precious Lord, I thank you because you are God. God is our victory. We can never know defeat. We win and they lose. Give victory to our brother. We believe you will do it, and nobody can stop God. We pray for victory in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And we all say, Amen.
Thank you, Father Anthony. May I call on Mayor Ken Siver to join us at the table? Mayor Ken Cyber is the mayor of Southfield, and we have a representative. We have a representative of the mayor of Detroit in the person of Roberto Torres. Roberto, if there's any other official representative that is here from the city or from the state, may we please get your attention so you can call you to the table. To the high chair, please. Okay, in the absence of any official, I will now call on my co-MC to take it over from here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chilechukwu. As we all do in Nigeria, and today, because our future president is here, we will do that honor and sing our national anthem. So please, let's rise up for Nigeria's national anthem. Okay, we'll start with the United States national anthem first. So that is giving honor to whom honor is due. So give us the U.S. anthem.
You say, my daughter is mine. What so proudly we hail at the twilight's black gleaming, whose from bright and bright stars through the perilous tide. On the ramparts we watch, where so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the hubs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, take our Star Spangled Banner yet wave, for the land of the free, and the whole of the brave.
Thank you very much. Without much ado, we will commence the program so we all can listen to our presidential candidate and our future president, inshallah. But first, this is Nigeria. This is not an Igbo event. I want us to straighten that. I am a Yoruba, being the MC here, so you should note that this is a Nigerian agenda. Being a Nigerian agenda, all the way from Nigeria, we have a special guest who accompanied our principal. Someone you all know. He's a professor of political and economic management expert. He's a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. He was a former presidential candidate, a former gubernatorial candidate, and a nationalist. And we all know him. If you haven't seen him physically, You've read about him, you've seen him on TV, and he's here today to let us know that there is no other president to take us to better land than our own Excellency, Peter OBI. On that note, I will introduce my very good brother. See, why I said that he's not even an Igbo himself, he's from the Ogoniland, from Delta. He was former gubernatorial candidate of Delta State too. So, please, a big thunderous applause for Professor Pat Utomi.
Good evening, Michigan. I know that there are a number of us from outside of the state of Michigan, but I want to begin by acknowledging our hosts here, public officials from the state, our presidential candidate, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. In Nigeria, we often say we're standing on existing protocols. I often ask, why don't you sit on the protocols? Or walk on them? Or run on them? But, you know, we love protocol in our country. I just wanted to acknowledge that. All of you very distinguished people have come for something that is extraordinary, a watershed in the history of our country. It is so because we are a country of great promise. Somewhere along the line, we missed the road some. We're a country that when we started in 1960, our leaders were competing for who would most bring progress to their nationality group. Now, two professors, incidentally, from here in Michigan, at Michigan State, Robert Melson and Howard Wolpe, actually wrote a pretty remarkable book on the subject back in the 70s. When during the Civil War, some more ethnocentric-minded described what was going on in Nigeria as part of African tribalism. And these two Michigan State professors challenged that and said that what was going on in Nigeria was competing ethnic nationality groups and who would most bring progress to their people. And somehow, process went a little sour. I think that concept, which they call competitive communalism, marked why Nigeria made the kind of progress that it made, that made it a country of great promise and independence. I'd like to cite as a very simple example the fact that in the area of production, and you will hear from our candidates, he often repeats the fact that the challenge that we have in Nigeria is that we are in consumption and not producing. But at the time that our founding fathers were competing for who would most bring progress to your people, one of the areas around which they competed was manufacturing. Chief Obafemi Awolowo started out with an industrial estate in Ikeja. It was called the Ikeja Industrial Estate for Western Region. To match that, Dr. Michael Okwara in Eastern Region started two, Transamadi in Port Harcourt and Aba Industrial Estate. In fact, so intense was the rivalry that Eastern Region managed to entice Pfizer that had set up in Ikeja away to relocate to Aba. And the Sidauna, who was a premier of Northern Region, chose to focus on his factor endowments, cotton being a major endowment of Northern Nigeria. Invited the Hong Kong Chinese to set up textile mills in Kaduna. And Kaduna became really the center of textile manufacturing. And at a point in time, the textile industry employed more people than any group except government in Nigeria. Now, a symbolic thing from our independence point of view, and we just celebrated Nigeria's independence 2 days ago. UNTL, setting up in Kaduna in 1960, sold out for export its first 6 months of production. It broke even in 1 month. This is how Nigeria started. Today, we hardly compete in manufacturing. There's therefore a need for radical surgery to return us to our base that was denoted on producing. I'm therefore extremely pleased to be a part of a group that began to conceive of a new Nigeria based on a transformation that looks at the security and unity of the country so that we can produce our way out of the sorry state of being the poverty capital of the world, which unfortunately we ended up finding ourselves. I'm excited that the fever has caught on and that the fever has come to Michigan and that even the fall weather cannot freeze it. And this fever that I saw bubbling as we walked into this hall is really where our country's future does depend. Because in many ways, the story of the 20th century is the story of the diaspora rescue. If you go back to even Japan and post-Meiji restoration transformation of Japan, it was the Japanese diaspora out of Europe, majorly Germany, that did it. In more recent experiences, India and India Rising was a function of the Indian diaspora. I teach business at the Lagos Business School, and I come frequently to the United States. At a point in time, most of the major business schools here in the United States had Indian-born deans. And you hardly met them in town. Anytime you came to Kellogg, Deepak Jain was out of the country. It took a while to catch on that essentially they were in India, sitting on boards in India and helping structure a strategy for India. It's not any surprise that globalization, which shaped our world, even when American economists began to rethink globalization, even Paul Krugman, Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize-winning American economists, looking at discontents from globalization. Indian economists like Jagdish Bhagwati at Columbia were writing books in defense of globalization because it was that which got India rising. And so, I have no doubt at all in my mind that Nigeria Rising is about you who are in this hall. I have no doubt in my mind that what we have called the brain drain for a long time is about to become the great brain gain. And that it's going to come. It's going to come from leadership. And what we have lacked for some time is leadership. And the gentleman that I am traveling with has shown through tutelage, through exposure, that it is possible to lead. I have had the good fortune of knowing Mr. Peter OBI for quite some time. I've had the privilege of actually having attended the high school that he attended. And I believe that our moment is now. On the 1st of October, just 2 days ago, Nigeria stopped. If just those who walked out to say a new Nigeria is possible, if just them voted, we'd have a new president, we'll have a new Nigeria, and all those dreams will come rushing back. He has come to say to you that he believes in what you do, and that you will be a major part of that renewal of Nigeria. In 1991, India had only 3 weeks trading money in its foreign reserves. Only 3 weeks. India was technically bankrupt. Few policy changes. Indian diaspora kicks in. The foreign reserves were going up by about $1 billion a week. We're looking to that happening through you for Nigeria, for a new Nigeria to dawn, because you were here. And I thank you as I introduce Peter OBI, the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Please be seated. Let me start by most sincerely apologizing. This I do very often, that we're starting this event late. And I do so with a combination that I ask for, that is one thing we must all correct. It was late not because of me. It was late because of all of us. Everywhere I've been, and I've been able opportunity to go and see our people, and they write an event and say it's 7 o'clock, 7:30, and I said, why can't we start by 7? They say everybody's not there, just wait a bit. And it's one thing we must correct. So I apologize. The next is gratitude to all of you who have. I know how busy it is to live in the Western world and how busy you are and how difficult. And I say to you, thank you for the sake of Nigeria that you decided to spend your evening, a Monday night, with us here. It is very, very important. Time is very, very important for somebody who lives in the Western world as you do. So thank you. We're appreciative of your concern for Nigeria and everything. This morning, I woke up in New York by 4 a.m. I will call an Uber driver. And it was in Nigeria. And we boarded the car. And they didn't introduce another colleague that came with us, Valentine Osbo, the gubernatorial candidate of PDP in the last gubernatorial election in Anambra State. And we boarded the car. And we started talking about Nigeria. He's from Imo. Fantastic man. I would say, so what do you think about this? What is happening in Nigeria? He said he's not interested. I would say, so what is this? He said he's given up on Nigeria. He doesn't think anything can make it work again. And we went on and said, how can he say this? He said, that he's telling us we shouldn't waste our time. That he's giving up on Nigeria. And he told him, he said, so, he said, he goes there very often. Whenever he goes there, he just feels like he's going to hell. But whenever he wants to experience hell, he goes to Nigeria. Because there nothing works, and nothing will ever work. And he said to him, so all these things people are saying about change, about this Peter OBI, about this, it's not going to work. He was very frank though. He said, listen, I have followed him. He's a nice guy, but I think they are wasting their time. He's going to go there and find himself in the midst of criminals, in the midst of this and everything, and he'll end up like every other person. All effort to convince him was adamant and impossible. And he would never accept that he would ever walk. No matter who you bring. He said, even if you like, bring Jesus. I was like, Peter, forget it. Finished. And I said, okay. At that stage, I decided to introduce myself. I said, I'm Peter OBI. And he said, no. So he didn't agree with that. And I said, He said, really? I said, yes. He said, last night we spent 3 hours arguing about you. And here I am this morning. So I said, well, I said, I believe you. Everything he said was right. Everything he said. Perfect. You know, he talked about how he works. He owns a business. He described his business to us. How he owns a business and he works till 8 p.m. He goes home in the morning. He does 4 hours of Uber. Goes home, starts his office by 9. He told us, before we introduced myself, he told us about his office, how you can be productive in America, how you can be productive. And the question I asked myself, we didn't know this guy, he didn't know us, but we trusted him. And we just introduced ourselves. And I told him, you just showed me what hard work can do. And how you work hard to look after your elderly parents at home, look after your siblings and everything. The problem in your country is that people have wealth without enterprise. And that is the beginning of the problem. I don't need this night to tell you about problems of Nigeria. The problems of Nigeria you know. What I want is an interaction with you and to assure you that there's a commitment within our young people. And myself telling you to hold me responsible that we can change it. There's nothing. It's happened in every country of the world. And they changed it. And it can be done in Nigeria. What you're seeing in Nigeria today, whether it's criminality, whether it's banditry, whether it's this, it's all caused by what Prof told you. Like Chinua Achebe said, the problem is leadership. It will happen in any other country. In this country today, if you increase American unemployment to 15%, I'm not talking about 15%, I can tell you, the level of banditry, you cannot control it. You cannot control it. That is why even after COVID, they gave people money for free, because they know they can't control the consequence. The consequence would have been huge. In Nigeria, you have 35% unemployment, which is, I can assure you, is more. And you have about 60% youth unemployment. You know what it means? Youth, young people in their productive age with so much energy and don't have any means of life, you don't know where the next meal will come from. Is that like? You have over 100 million people living in poverty. How can you close your eyes? 20 million out-of-school children. The list is not what I'm here to tell you this night. It's on and on. And everybody's complaining about resources to deal with it. I came from Nigeria yesterday to New York. We couldn't, in the plane, he was in the plane with me, and then there was an argument, one person after the other, we were arguing, the same thing like that, it won't get well, and all that, how can people steal oil, how can they steal it? There's nobody stealing oil in Nigeria. Nigeria oil is stolen by people in government. Simple. You don't put oil in pockets. It is people in government that steal the oil. You have subsidy, it's an organized crime. It's people in government that is stealing it. So you can't have a situation where Like I always say, in the case of where lunatics took over the asylum, you have to get them and put them back there and fix the country. And it's not difficult. But all of us have decided to abandon it to them. All of us have given up and said, oh, well, listen, it's not going to work. It's not going to do this. No, other countries went through this. I'm only appealing that for the sake of our children. Some of you might think, well, I'm American now. I've settled America. I don't care about that. I've left that place. God said, you're suffering more. What do you do here? Every morning, you get a message in your phone. If it's 10 messages, 11 is demanding for help. That's what you get. So, you have run away. You're working hard here. You're very productive here. But I can tell you, when have you become? You become their welfare. You become their doctor, their nurse, everything. And when they die, you're the funeral director. Because they have nothing to go. So every morning, everybody's calling you. So even what you're earning here, you can't even enjoy it. So it is better you help us to solve that problem, to reduce your so you can enjoy what you're earning here. And like Paul said, if you get it right, the brain drain becomes brain gain. Because China, India, everywhere, go and study. The change came from here. It is people here with their knowledge and everything. I live in the UK. My neighbor had a factory in India. Factory in India. He built it. His people are working there. They were exporting the goods to the UK. So they were being paid salary. He's making money in the UK. He's a rich man. You can't do it. Anything you send home now, they'll consume it. Even if you build the factory, they'll run in the ground. If you ask them to build a house for you, they'll eat the money. So you have a big problem. And that is what we want to change. So that you become an initial investor. So you become part of that change. So this night is not for me to make all those speeches that will make you feel bad. We know all the bad story. I want to answer your questions. I want to be able to interact. I want to listen. I want to learn. But I have something to assure you. All we want to do is to secure Nigeria. We have a security problem. Let nobody tell you it's difficult to secure Nigeria. It's not true. The reason why it's not happening is that there's a, like I said, is a criminalized system. They tell you there's banditry, there's kidnapping. If you go to Nigeria today, they kidnap you. They'll keep you in one place. They'll phone your family members to give them money. They're using phone. They're not doing it by any other magic. They're using phone, which everybody knows. Today you can know where that phone is ringing from. The people are corresponding with them. They are corresponding days, talking about the pricing. If they ever tell them you're sick, they will send a doctor. The doctor will come there and treat you. And come back. And say that you're well. And they're negotiating the price. And eventually, when they pay, the only person who don't know where they are is police. Every other person knows where they are. It's only police that don't know where they are. Because with this gadget, you can know where anybody is in the world today. But police don't know. But when you pay, you'll be surprised that the security agencies will be asking you how much did you pay. It's a system that has to be dealt with. It's the only place where you go and say, okay, I want to start a local government police. They say, no, you can't. I want to start a state police. No, you can't. But you can't protect me. And I said, I want to protect myself. He said, no, you can't protect yourself. What do they have? You have county police here. You have local police here. You have state police. You have national police. What's wrong in it? You just want to be secured. Simple. Even if it means having private police, have police be secured. But they said you can't have. But you're not safe. It doesn't happen anymore. And that happens in everything. Government make promises, like I said, we're the only oil producing country that is not meeting our OPEC quota, apart from Venezuela, because of sanctions. We need every dollar, every dime. But we can't meet up our quota because our oil is being stolen. For you to steal oil, a ship has to come in, approved by Navy. Because you can't put it in your pocket. You lose your oil, you have to get approval to leave. Everybody knows where every ship on the sea is in the world. If I want to know where every ship is, there's a data. We're not talking about a small car. We're talking about a ship, a tank on the sea, approved by Navy. So everyone knows that somebody is giving the order. And if you look at what we are not producing and what we are not selling in a month, it can deal with our problem. The first 4 months of this year, our deficit in our revenue and our expenditure was 3.1 trillion. We earned about 1.6 trillion, and our expenditure was about 4.7 trillion between January and April. But we're borrowing to support that. Because of it today, our revenue, servicing of our debt is more than our revenue. But in 1 month, so we have a deficit of about 3.1 trillion. But in 1 month, even when all the money will not come from us, but money lost from oil alone, I know all the money will not come from Nigeria, but part of it will come from. But if the money lost, if you look at it, if it was that we borrowed even from the other people who are on it, it would have covered virtually. In July, we lost. Our production is supposed to be 1.8 million barrels a day. In July, our average was 1,083,000. So we lost 1 million. We lost 717,000 per day. If you multiply it for July, we lost about 22,227,000 barrels. That's what we couldn't supply in July. All throughout July, the average price was 110. So we lost $2,445,000,000. That's what we didn't earn and share with our partners. If you use 550, I know you sell your dollar today about 660 or 700, but I use 550. If you use 550 to multiply that, it's about 1,344,750,000,000 naira. Our universities on strike. Their total demand is about 1 trillion for over the past 10 years. In 1 month, look at what we lost. 1,344,750,000,000. In August, it was worse. Our production in August was 750,000. We were losing 825 per day. An average of about 25 million in the month. 100 naira average is about $2.5 billion. Again, with 550, it's about 1.4 trillion. So in 2 months, the money we lost in 2 months is almost what we need to deal with our deficit in the whole of 3 months. So you can go on and on. As I said, the problem is known to you. You know it. What we are saying today is, what is the solution? And I'm saying, as difficult as it might be from the analysis, comments of the Uber driver this morning, my brother, it is solvable. We can do it. It is not impossible to do. It is a question of having election based on electing somebody with character, based on electing somebody who is competent, somebody who has the capacity and determination to deal with it. I have been a governor of a state. And I always say to people ask me, how are you going to deal with inflation? How are you going to deal with rate of naira? How are you going to deal with corruption? How are you going to deal with it? And I said, it's very simple. I said, how? I said, if you want to deal with the corruption, if you're not stealing, you, the man who is in charge, so we take good that you're not stealing. Your wife is not. We take it good. Telling you the areas where you have problem. The man is not stealing, the wife is not stealing, the children, those around him, are not stealing. You reduce it by 70%. And they say, how? I say, well, just say that I told you. If these people are not stealing, you reduce it by 70%. Because you, the principal person, have to put your own first. And everybody will add his own. If they know you haven't added your own, everybody will be scared. So it starts with you. You are going to approve what he is going to steal. So if your own is not there, you're not going to approve it. And I gave them instances where we shut down corruption. We used to have in school, those who are from Anambra State know that school at the time was closed in Anambra State for 2 years. Children did not go to school. When I started, we were number 26 in Wayeka Neko. And people thought it was impossible. We returned school to the original owners. We started working in school. In 4-5 years, 2011, 12, 13, Anambra is number 1. We're number 1. What did we do? They used to call universal basic education. Federal government gives us money. They give it to states. States have its own UBEC. That state UBEC gives it to local government. Local government gives it to school. And I said to them, tell me, this money belongs to school, yes. Why can't this money go from federal to school? Why these two people in between? What is that? What is they doing? There was a toll gate that makes the money shorter and shorter and shorter till it gets to the destination. Their job is supervision. They are not supposed to touch money. Their job is supervise this person who is going to spend this money. So these are the 3 people who are involved. He is the spender of the money. These 2 people are supposed to supervise, but they refuse to do their work. They want to touch the money. So by the morning you get to him, he's left. So I said, will they take this money from here to school? Everybody started protesting. I returned school to the original owner. Everybody who is the landlord, we don't have anything to do with school. We don't want to manage school because we put money in it for 2 years. It wasn't working. I said, since it's not working, let's give it to these people. Let them do the supervision. We will give them the money. Let them manage it. And people started protesting. I didn't go to school for 3 months. So I said, as far as I'm concerned, let these people take back their school. We'll give them money. I will give it to them direct. We're not going to go via you. We're not going to go via you. We're going to give them this money. Let's do our job, supervision. That was the change. We didn't change the teachers. We didn't change anybody. Those who were teaching when we were number 26 were still the people who were teaching when we were number 1. The only thing that changed, which part has studied, the professor, is that this man will now have people, we now decided because we are not getting the money, we must make sure that this man didn't chop it. Because since he's not going to pass through us. So everybody became. So I said to them, you can remove the transaction side of it. And everybody will stay alive. And it will work. We did the same thing with hospital. We had it, we wanted it. We didn't have, the day I started, there was no single school of nursing that was accredited in Anambra State. No single school of midwifery that was accredited in Anambra State. And I said, what is happening? You can't talk about primary health care when you don't even have the basic thing to do it. This is the engine. Those health workers are not there. And everybody said, we're going to build new health workers. We're going to build this one. I said, why are we going to build? ENU, owned by the Church of Nigeria, produced the first midwife in Nigeria. I read it in primary school. They said, no, ENU is owned by church. I said, okay. But there used to be a school of nursing when I was in Santa Maria in Onitsha, Waterside. They said, oh, it's owned by the church. There used to be this one in Ihala. They said, it's owned by the church. I said, listen, this is in Anambra State. Let's leave the owner. I said, there used to be. They admitted yes, but we cannot give them money because it's government money and they are private. I don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to do it with government. I said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We have 5 facilities owned by church. We have 1 facility. So what we're going to do is, let's set out to spend about 500 to 1 billion naira in each of these 5 facilities. Since the same amount is what we need to set up the one of government, we'll make it 6. So we'll share the money into 6. 1 to government, so you go and set up your own. These 5 will sustain them so they can work. Guess what? That 5 is working. The only one that is not working is the. What does it show? It can be done. They were arguing, oh, no, you can't do it. It's owned by private. I bought ambulances. If you go to Onitsha today in Niyenu, you see the ambulance we gave them, and it's working. You go to Boromio, you see it. Go to Waterside, you see it. The only place you won't see ambulance again working is the other hospitals. Because they've converted into their vehicles. So, if we want to deal with corruption, we can stop it. And I've asked people, go to Anambra and show me where their money is missing. So that's how there's a basis when people talk about fighting corruption. Because they say it cannot. We dealt with the issue of security. We've paid every vigilante in every village. Because I believe in community policing. Every community knows the criminals around them. There's nobody tell you, in my town, we know the criminals, we know the good people. And if you deal with the community, you catch them. All you need is to pay the community. And we did. We bought vehicles for each community. So on and on, it can work. My dear people, my appeal to you tonight is that I'll make a closing remark after our interaction. and tell you where we need you and what we need you to do. But don't give hope. Don't think, oh, it cannot. It can turn it around. Don't say, oh, we're owing too much. Oh, we're doing this, we're doing this. Countries after countries. Oh, America debt to GDP is over 80%, even when they print the money. So is every other country of the world. Every country borrows. Is what you use the money you borrow to do that makes a difference. If you borrow for consumption, you have a problem. If you borrow for production, it makes sense. And I will show you how we can wrap up production and what we can do. So tonight, let me take questions. Let me know what bothers you. Because when I set out to do this election, I said it's not going to be about me. It's going to be about you and those things that bother you. It's going to be about those things that bother our youth. We have incredible, energetic youth that if we support them, they will change the world. And I know that. I see it every day. Today we call them criminals. Today we call them everything. But because I lived in the West when people were calling Indians everything, until when they changed it, they became everything in technology today. That's what we have in Nigeria. Smart young people. But they've not been given a space to try. They've been stifled. They've not wasted their time. And all I want is to change the energy. So it's about them. It's about what concerns them. Not about me, not about anything. And that is what I want to learn here, because from your question, I take note everywhere I go. I know those things that bother them and everything, so that tomorrow I'm not going to start blaming somebody or giving you excuses. The job of a leader is not to blame people. No. The job of a leader is not to start reminding people about their past. We are about to hire the next CEO of Nigeria. And what we are saying is, let's hire the right person. So, thank you for coming tonight. But let's go straight into this interaction very quickly so that we can. I know the night is fast spent. I assure you we'll leave here as quickly as you can. But for me, I'm here all night, 24 hours. It's just great that I'm here. So, let's just thank you and God bless you. So the question of answer.
You can sit down, I'll bring it back.
Yes. I'm here, no sitting down. We're going to deal with it this time.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We have questions written down.
Oh, yes.
So he says he's not going to sit down. He wants to answer your questions standing up. You see, that's the work of a good leader.
While you're waiting for the first question, don't forget that I've not acknowledged our presence of our dear mayor, and I thank you most sincerely for coming to spend this time with us. It shows how you care about us. Mayors are here. Thank you very much. So, let's start.
One of the questions says, I would like to know your specific plan for dealing with energy shortage, especially the lack of electricity and sky-high diesel prices.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
All right.
Got about 4 or 5 and then after.
Okay. The second one, it says, what is your plan to resolve the ongoing conflict between Hausa, Yorubas, and Igbo so that we all be united? You speak of change, but how will you handle and sustain and preserve Nigerian culture?
I have a question. I have a question here. And it says, how would you improve primary health care for average Nigerians? This is from one of the coordinators of this program. Somebody says that they know that you will win. But how do you intend to get senators and House of Reps from other parties to do work with you on policies?
Another healthcare question. I know your program includes these healthcare and law and order. Would you promise the diaspora that you will overhaul and completely reform our national healthcare and judicial system?
So
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me start with the last one, which dealt with the issue of reform of healthcare and judicial system. Let me separate the two of them because they're two distinct. If you listen to what we say we're going to do very well, one area that I can tell you that we must. Can any of you, just honestly, I'll start with the MCs. MC, you live in America. Can you tell me what you can think is the greatest asset and contributor to American GDP? GDP. The greatest asset and contributor to American GDP.
Bigger than America.
Huh? No. What is the biggest contributor to American GDP? Huh? Okay. Everything you give is correct. Everything is correct. But I can tell you, the greatest contributor to the Western world's economy, not just America, to all the so-called G7, is rule of law. The intangible assets of law and order. The reason why you're here is that you're sure you'll be safe tonight, and if anything goes wrong, you have somebody you can call police. There's law, there's order, there's rule of law. The reason why you enter into contract is that if anything goes wrong, that is the biggest intangible asset and contributor to the Western world economy. That's what keeps you here. Not that there's anything. The air here is not better than the air in Nigeria. The food is not better. There's nothing better. You know, I can tell you, we have more organic food, very cooked, delicious, everything. The air is better. This one is polluted. But the certainty of rule of law, the certainty of policy. So if the mayor, or governor, anybody says this is what it is what it is. Nobody's going to change it. You know, there's a greater environment that allows you to invest money, and you're sure that what they say today you will get. An estate agent, a valuer, cannot overvalue house because his license will go. Doctor will not say something wrong because he knows he's putting himself on the line. Everybody is certain. That one makes the Western world. That is why if there's one crime, before you finish it, 12 police vehicles there. You know, everybody, even in marriage, everybody's happy. Everybody knows that if you harass anybody, they call police. In Nigeria, I can get up and tell my mother that this woman is a problem for me, and that night they will remove her without anybody. No matter the police that comes, they say, listen, we don't want you to kill our brother. He must go this night. You understand? But these are things that makes a society. So I can assure you, judiciary is extremely important. And it's an intangible asset that we must deal with. So if you look at what I said I'll do, number one is to secure the country. Our number one problem today is security. If you deal with security of life and property, if you put farmers back today into the farm, you reduce the food inflation, which is the most important, the worst contributor to your inflation today. So you deal with it. And by dealing with the judiciary, you deal with the corruption. If you deal with corruption today, what is worsening your rate of exchange is physical rascality. Not business, it's physical rascality. People are printing money, selling money. It is those stolen monies and everything that is chasing the few dollars. Not people who are doing business. So if you deal with that physical rascality and enter into production, you stabilize your currency. So it is a win-win that you deal with judiciary. On healthcare, development of a society is hinged on three things. The greatest measure of development is Human Development Index. And it's revolved around three things. Number one is issue of life expectancy, which is health. That you have to deal with. So health is critical. Number two is education. You can't talk anything about, unless you talk about your human capital. We have a very low human capital today, which is not helping us. Nobody can invest with that level of human capital. The more you're educated, the more your people are educated, the more your society is educated, the better development. Because you can't talk about, today when I was governor, people talk about physical infrastructure. I said, you're wasting your time. You need to deal with the human infrastructure first. Education. It's affecting us. That's part of our problem. Because we're not educated. So that you have to deal with. So it's a very straightforward. Health will deal with. The next is what you people have said, pulling people per capita income, which is pulling people out of poverty. And you do that by supporting micro, small, medium enterprises. That's what has propelled businesses all over the world. So with this, you can deal with it. See, when number 4 question deals with the issue of National Assembly, there's nothing wrong with National Assembly. Everybody says that. I was governor of Anambra State without one house member from my party. No senator, no representative from my party. All these things becomes a problem when you have something you put in your pocket. If you put everything on the table, there's nothing wrong. You can serve with anybody. Senator wants security in his constituency. He wants progress. House of Representatives can no longer go back to his constituency, so he wants it to be secured. So if you're doing the right thing, you don't need your house member. You only need those things when you are going to pack something, they will pack their own. Everybody will pack his own. In my own case, I can tell you, I said with help sincerity, we're going to fix the country. So nobody's going to pack anything. That's the other thing to do it. You can go and make your quarry. I show them and I'll show you before I leave. For those who know me very well, who don't have Southern Brazil, I had one of the most wonderful teams anybody can assemble in Nigeria. Because again, it's important that you assemble the right thing. Those who can look at your face and say no, who disagree with you. I had one of the most wonderful things. One of them is my head of service. Fantastic woman, Ngozi Melifon, daughter of a famous judge in Nigeria. And she was always there complaining, Peter, people are not happy with you. Just like everybody says. And if you know very well, when I was in Anambra, no elite is happy with me. Even till today. Not in Nigeria. No elite is happy. Because the elites are the ones who are causing this confusion. So they are never happy. You know. So he used to come to my office and say, hey, this is it. But I'll tell you, when I was starting this journey, he wrote a famous article. Stinginess as a growing strategy. A case study by Peter OBI. Because when I started, he used to complain to me, oh, this thing you said we shouldn't do here. This thing you said, no. I wasn't stingy. When I started, I found out that the cost of governance in Nigeria is criminal. It's unacceptable. It was costing us almost 30-something% of our budget to keep the governor's office. When education wasn't receiving 10%. So I shut it down. I said, we'll reverse it. I found myself traveling with 30 people that have no reason to travel with me. They have not been invited for any meeting. They have no reason to leave the state. You know, I found myself having to feed 10 people, 30 people. I have no reason when I'm the only person they should look after. I found myself, all sorts of things were happening around me. My wife has to have an office, a first lady, have convoy and everything. When nobody voted for her, I have no reason to do that. I had to add additional position. And I said, no. You can't do this. Not with public money. We can't do this. I and my wife are very close. Everybody knows. We're very, very close. I see her. We talk every day. But nobody voted. We're not campaign. Nobody voted for her. So what is this confusion? All about? So we need to shut it down. So those who benefit from it started complaining. Hey, listen. And people are, people are not happy with you. I said, well, I never promised happiness. Since I've been talking to you people now, I'll tell you, none of you will be happy if I become governor or president. No. I said I'm going to provide security. I didn't say I'm going to make you happy. So, we need to do the right thing. I assure you that if you do that right thing, you won't have problem with National Assembly. Healthcare we've done with the somebody said there's a crisis between the tribes. There's no crisis between the tribes. It is the confusion by the elites to continue their manipulation. Quote me anyone. I've said it repeatedly. Do not vote for me because I'm an Igbo man or from the southeast. Please don't do that. You're hurting the country. Don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. You're hurting the country. Don't vote for me because it's my turn. You're hurting the country. It's nobody's turn. It's Nigerian turn. It's the turn of Nigerian youth. Don't vote for me for any connection. I said it. You are about to hire the next CEO of Nigeria. And the only way, and all of us are going to tell you the same story. I'm here. Please. What I've come here to do tonight is an interview. Every other person who wants to be the CEO should do the same thing. Don't send representatives. Don't listen to their representatives. If they can't come physical, they Zoom. There's a way they can talk to you. It's only in Nigeria that you're calling for election. People say, oh, Peter OBI doesn't have spokespeople. When Obama then were running here and Biden, were they speaking to those people? I said, you are the one being interviewed, and somebody is speaking for you. No. You want to hear several people here now are taking what I'm saying. So everything I'm saying is in depth. So when I come back tomorrow to start giving you a school, I start telling you what I saw when I got there, or the other man caused it, you're not hiring me to be reminding you what the other man did. If the other man was doing well, you won't hire me. That's what I tell people. We hired you because the other man wasn't doing well. So don't remind us the pain of the other man who left. Because he was not doing well, we hired him. Don't remind us about him. He's gone. We want to hear about you and what you want to do for us to forget that was the pain of the other man. But what you see in Nigeria is that I'm not doing well. I say, if I tell you what Pat Utomi did here, Pat is gone. It's not Peter. Peter, let's see what you can do to solve the problem of Pat. Because if Pat was doing well, who would call you? The job of the leader is not to complain or blame anybody, but to find solutions and solve problems. That's not what is happening in our country. But if you say there's no security, you say, when this man was there, the place was no. I disagree. That man is gone. Those who think about yesterday and today will miss tomorrow. I want you to focus on tomorrow. God didn't give us eyes to look back. It's to look front. So there's no crisis between us. We will secure, unite, and bring our cohesiveness together. In America, there's so many tribes, so you don't know. The reason why they're all working together is because there's prosperity. The economy is working. So people are judged based on what? People's talent and hard work match up their opportunity. In Nigeria, it says, I can't do this. It's because I'm from here. I remember when we were in bank and people were complaining when I used to be chairman of the bank. Because they are pursuing us because we are from this place. I said, are you owing? He said, yes. I said, go and pay. He said, if you know the law for that right. There's no tribe in owing. If you're owing, you go and pay. If you pay, they will not pursue you. So don't give excuse. He said, but the other one is owing. That's not the way to go. Don't say because this man is owing, then you're entitled. So, energy. There's nothing in energy. Do you think generating power or distributing power is rocket science? No. It is because people live off the confusion. Nigeria is a country of 200 million people, generating 4,000 megawatts of electricity. It's unacceptable in any place in the world. The second biggest economy in Africa is South Africa, generating 50,000. And they're 60 million. We're 200 million. And guess what? South Africa in the past 1 month has declared emergency in energy and authorized that any human being or company can generate 100 megawatts without license. Somebody with 60 million generating 50,000 has declared emergency. The person with 200 million generating 4 have not declared. He would have declared war. But he's not doing so because people are living off confusion. But I can tell you, what are we going to do? Because we don't want to hear problems. I want to hear the solution. I've said it. We will immediately tackle that problem, and I've promised, and I've said it, that in 4 years, we would have moved from, say today is 5,000, that would have added another minimum 10,000, would have moved to nearer to 20,000. minimum within this period. And it's not second time. It's very easy. The reason why I put number to it is that people can measure it. Because in Nigeria, I say I will do. No. So that if people can measure it, it is not how do you do it. We have gas. We have even flame gas. So you can build a power plant, have a dedicated gas production to power. That is one of the problems we're having today. You have to support the existing power generation companies with certainty of policies and a great environment that will make them thrive. Ensure they have access to funding. That's the first generation. We have issue with transmission. Because what we did is that we privatize generation, privatize distribution, even when there's issues with those privatization. That is not time to talk about issues with it. But I'm going to leave it the way it is, support them, but even the transmission that we didn't, which is now the biggest problem, you decentralize it. Introduce embedded power, like what Professor Naji and his team is doing in Aba. All over the place. It will surprise you that in airports here, I don't know, I know most of the airports here have just one power company generating power they use. So introduce embedded power all over the place. You want to be aggressive. Egypt was able in 4 years to move from under 20,000 megawatts to over 50,000. So it's not rocket science. It is done on other places and it can be done. And part knows we're studying it. So power and the energy problem will be solved. You can't even solve it if I'm talking about moving from consumption to production. You can't talk about production without power. So it's a critical component of what you want to do. So we'll deal with it. And it's very simple. Because Nigeria is a huge country that wants things to manufacture. So that's for energy. Now there's the 5 questions. The next 5 man.
Thank you, Your Excellency. A round of applause for His Excellency. And I hope those skeptics have their mind has been changed tonight.
No, I hope I'll be hired.
Of course you will. Thank you. Now, these 5 questions are this. This says, how will you harness the energy of Nigerian youth and direct it towards production? The same person said, how will you fund the much needed infrastructure development given the current debt burden of Nigeria? Question 2. How would you encourage and empower Nigerians in diaspora for an investment opportunity in Nigeria? Number 3 says, how will you manage the rigging of presidential elections in Nigeria?
Okay. The last one.
The last one. Welcome to Detroit. For security reasons, your campaign has considered using technology to virtually address and speak to your supporters in a campaign rally from a remote location without physical presence in that rally? If the answer is yes, can we be directed to your contact person to discuss further details and other assistance possibilities? If no, will it not be beneficial to deploy it or cut down on security risk factors, stress, and fatigue associated with campaigning?
Okay. I think everything they've said, they said they will help. Am I right?
Yes.
I need help. But let me be honest with you. Even in America, at least if not, they have followed closely Obama's election. Without the technology in America, it was running from one place to the other. So there's no place you do election, you don't run around. People want to see you physically. I remember him sleeping and going around in that bus. And I said, everybody moves around. People want to see you. And no matter how technology works, physical presence is critical. It's still critical. And so, but we need help in that direction. On the issue of rigging, there's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is that with people, with you, is that people say to me, you can't vote. Diasporans can vote. I've always said this is the last one. No? This is the last one. If diasporans in Kenya, Rwanda, every other country, Ghana can vote. Nigerian diasporas must vote from the next election. We have to be where every other person is. Issue of Nigerian youth, I spoke at length about it here. You can direct them. It's very easy. What they need is care. What they need is support. Our government will involve youth. My commitment is to take power back to the youth. Nigeria belongs to them. We failed them. And we cannot bequeath them anarchy. We have so many talented youths, and they are going to be involved and be part of the drivers of the government that we're going to run. They will be the drivers. And I assure you, we're going to do a lot because we're going to invest in MSMEs, which is youth. Listen, you can't turn around the economy without investing in small businesses. And small businesses, which includes entrepreneurship and startups and everything, are many youths. Without them, no country can thrive. So, we're going to deal with the youth. That you can take it for granted that this is the situation where the youth are going to drive everything. And issue of debt, again, somebody says about debt, and let me tell you, every country of the world borrows. I told you that America is the biggest economy in the world. With all their size, with all their dollar, with everything, their debt to their GDP is over 80%. It's approaching 100%. And soon be more than 100%. And that is the number one economy in the world. Number two economy is China. In terms of size, not in terms of per capita. Because in terms of per capita, China is low, it's about 12,000 to 10,000 per capita, so you can't compare most countries. But in terms of size, China is number two, about 15 trillion economy. But China is owing over 50% of their GDP. Number three economy is Japan. Japan is owing 230% of its GDP. And it's moving. But what is the difference between every country people cite today, like Singapore, an exemplary country and everything? Singapore's debt to GDP is over 120%. So everybody is owing. Even our own is very low. Our debt to GDP, if you compare it, is low because our debt to GDP is about 30-35% of our GDP. When most countries are owing 80, 100, no. The reason why our own became problematic is that what you use the debt to do is what makes a difference. Japan borrowed for investment to sustain their economy when there was a problem. So their economy is working. And by the way, Japan is the highest holder of American treasury. So they have investment. So they borrowed for investment. America dashed people money after COVID. What do you think they were doing? To stimulate the economy. Because the economy can't function without local demand. Where did they get the money? They borrowed it. They printed money, which is borrowing. They borrowed it. But that borrowing was to keep the economy going. What did he do? They earn more revenue. Because if the economy is productive and people are working, they will pay tax and government will generate the money. If people are unemployed today here in Nigeria, say, hey, revenue to GDP is low. Why not? You have 100 million people living in poverty. Have millions of people not working. Jobless people, will they pay tax? No. So if you want them to pay tax, it's like a bank account. You can't go and do withdrawal without paying anything in. Then you're a criminal. You first have to ensure that your country is productive. And people ask me every day, how do you say Nigeria is not productive? Why do you say that? I say, hey, wait a minute. Nigeria is a country of 923,000 square kilometers of land. With over 200 million people. Let's say 210 million. Our total export last year in Naira is about 18.9 trillion Naira. If you divide it by official rate of 410, it will give you $47 billion. If you divide it by the rate of 650, it will give you about $30 billion. That's totally unacceptable. Countries like Vietnam, land size 331,000 square kilometers. So it's a third of Nigerian size. 100 million people. Total export last year is about $312 billion. So we did 10% of what they did. 10%. And we're 200 million people. I live on 3 times the land they live on. They're not the first world country. And most of the export are manufactured goods. Electronics, it's something million naira. Clothing, which is there all over the place in our back. And we talked about, Prof talked about cotton. Clothing gave them 30-something billion. So what they did in clothing is what we did overall. Footwear gave them over 20 billion. So we can't do it. And that's what I'm saying. We're not getting it right. And we have people, you're sending money to people to eat, to live, and do nothing. They need to be productive. We want you to bring that money, build a factory, employ them, they produce something before they earn a living. Nobody here eats if we can't produce anything. No, it's wrong. We must move it from consumption to production. People have to produce. We want people to make wealth, we want people to be rich, but we want to know where they are going. You can't just have people driving around without an office, without factory, without anything. That's only in Nigeria. It's not magic, and not by prayers. You know, God didn't give, I haven't seen God sharing money to everybody. So if you tell me that you got it in Jesus' name, you must go show me to Jesus. So that I can meet him, so he can give us someone else. I'm not saying prayers work when you have worked. But don't tell me, don't come and tell me that you prayed and money came into your account. You are arrested that day. Because you want to show me how it's Jesus that put it into your account. So you can put it into my account, so you call it. If it does, because I've seen that where people say, oh, I came to testify that I prayed, money came into my account. No. You have to go and answer police. Where you got the money from? You know, or you return it. These are things that we must stop and encourage hard work, encourage productivity and everything. So I assure you, there's nothing wrong in borrowing. We will borrow if it's necessary and cut it down. And how are we going to deal with the present one? If we reduce corruption, if you remove subsidy, because some of you might be thinking, no, what are we going to do? 50% of subsidy is corruption. We'll stop it the same day. The remaining one will deal with building refineries, not rocket science. We will encourage modular refineries, encourage the big ones, like what Dangote is already doing. They will be up and running within a short time. We even have people, they say they are refining illegally now. We will bring them. No more illegal. You are genuine now. Let's talk with you. Can we support you? Because that person that has the brain to do it illegally can be done legally. Support him. He becomes productive. He pays tax. Everything works. It's win-win. What we want is fuel. We want to stop importation of fuel. This is crude we have here. We supply to them in naira. And they sell it to local people. These things can be done. There's nothing. So all this confusion you see people live off can be contained. The price of importing the crude, yes, the shipping cost, everything, you remove it. And you find that the difference will not be much. So that we will deal with managing what is existing. We cut down the cost in order to manage our resources more efficiently. And if we must borrow, it must be for investment, not for consumption. I didn't borrow one kobo in Anambra State for 8 years. And when I left office, we are not owing pension, we are not owing gratuity, we are not owing salary, we are not owing any supplier, we are not owing any contractor who executed this job. And I left $70-something billion naira. So, all we need is that we shut down the cost of governance. We decided that we cannot live, we must live within our income. And it can be done again. We didn't have to come, I didn't have to own a house in America, because I don't live in America. You know, it was not necessary. Those of you who live in America can own a house in America. I live in Nigeria. Americans don't own houses in Nigeria. We don't need to own here. For public officials, though, Nigerians who live here, please buy a house here. But don't encourage those of us who come from there with public money to buy a house here. You become part of the problem. If they come here and buy a house, after you elect him, call police. We'll encourage, I've said it, we'll encourage diaspora. Diaspora will be our first investment. No, because I was saying it, somebody is looking at me. I'm saying it when I was governor. I was surprised that I come here. People will tell me, oh, this man owns the house. This man owns, it's good if you buy here. Why would I buy it? Where do I get the money to buy it? I come here 2-3 times in a year. Why would anybody own a house in a place you come 2-3 times in a year? And the house is empty. And I'm paying tax man. Everything. When my people are dying of hunger. When they are dying of ill health. So I take the money meant for their hospital. What do you think you're doing? You're bringing costs on your family. You're bringing costs on yourself. So public money must be used for public good. If you have your own private money and you want to throw it away, which I wouldn't even do with my private money, I can't buy a house where I will go visiting 3 times in a year. Now where a hotel won't cost me more than $200. And there's a lot of them. America is a sophisticated place. Can even get one for $100 and something. You're not going to sleep. So why will you wait? All you want is just to sleep. You know? Yeah, you can get one. You know, you can get one. Just tell them no breakfast, no nothing in it. Just to sleep. So, for me, it's easy. So you shouldn't do that. So diasporans, we need you. You are not voting. but you're a big influencer to those who vote. Because you feed them. So you can tell them what is right and what is wrong. You become the engine to motivate. And that's why we're talking to you and everything, trying to get you to be involved. And I thank you for the honor of time you're spending to be able to listen to us and everything. I think the questions are finished.
Yes.
Huh? Okay, two more. Because of them, because they're working. You know, we in Nigeria, we don't work. So I'm ready to tell you, don't worry.
So, most of the questions are repeated, so we're just going to ask the ones they haven't asked before.
Yes.
This one says, are you going to sponsor a bill to reduce lawmakers' pay to make it practical?
Okay.
That's the one. To make it part-time. Oh, okay. To make it part-time. Since Nigerian constitution is one of the things that needs to change, what is your plan to rewrite people-oriented constitution? And the third one says, it's a repeated issue here, power, electricity, but this one is going to say, what will you do in the first 3 months of your administration to raise the hopes of Nigeria? And then we have 2 more, but I'm going to read one.
Okay.
It says, if you are elected president, when? Oh, when? But the question, I'm reading the question now. Do you plan to...
No, one is the part-time.
No, the part-time.
Yes, number 2 is there. Sorry about that. Yeah, part-time. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah, it says, are you going to sponsor a bill?
Okay, bill on...
To reduce lawmakers' pay?
Yes, I know. There's a second one. Yeah. There was one after that.
Yes. Okay. The administration fee, let me see. After that, what will you do in the first 3 months of your administration?
Yeah, before that.
Oh, before that, okay.
How do you remember?
There's a lot of questions.
What do you do to give hope
Okay.
to the people within the first 3 months?
Yeah. Okay, let's deal with this. Let me define it. What will you do in the first 3 months, so 100 days in office? I always said the Nigerian problem is not problem of 100 days in office. 100 days, I've governed before in Anambra State, and you know, I was impeached in the first 6 months. So, no, it's important that you understand. Why did you think I was impeached in the first 3 months? In the first 6 months? No. When you bring for a change, like it's happening now, you have for enemy all those who live of the old order. People ask me then, a practical question, where were you impeached? I was driving a vehicle full of passengers that have since passed their destination. So the only way they can get to where they want to go is to push as a driver. I was going to a better place, but they passed their destination. So they wanted to go. When I stayed here, we were trying to cut costs. When I came in and saw what was happening, Anambra had no ministry of planning. So I brought the ministry of planning. I said we must plan for everything. I asked people in education, where's your target? No target. Health, where's your target? No target. This, where's your target? There was none. So I said, then, if you don't know where you're going, every road will lead you there. Everywhere you turn. You don't even need to put the map in navigation. Because everywhere you turn is good. Because there's no destination. So we didn't have a destination. So we fixed a destination, which is what I said. We started MDG. And I'll tell you that we know where we're going. I'll tell you what we achieved. We started MDG. We said, okay, Millennium Development Goals will be our vision. It will be our goal. And then we said what we called Anambra Integrated Development Strategy, which was a process to plan within the MDG goals, budget properly, execute within that line. We found out that the cost, we needed to shift cost from the governor's office to this. So when I started, I was impeached for three things. Number one is that when I started, there was no office of the governor because under my predecessor, that office was burnt. As people know, if you're Anambra State, my predecessor, Dr. Christian Gige, quarreled with a group of people and they burned down his office, burned down the lodge. It became like I said, it was a mess. So, but in that year I started, they approved in the budget to renovate the office 298 million naira. It's an approved budget of that year. That was number one item, office. And they've given the contract somehow to somebody. But I came in because we didn't have money any longer. I said the contract won't work. We now need to do it at the red level. It was 298 million, but everything cost me 43,200,000. You know. And I can tell you, I bought everything new except the table that I used. Because the previous governor, Dr. Christian Gige, and Dr. Chiwokem Badnuju had a table that he used, which I saw kept aside somewhere. And I said, this is table. This table. I said, oh, this table. I said, listen, table is table. Bring it here. I'm going to use it in table. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. This table can serve governor's office. It's table. You want to write on it. It's not you're not going to eat it. It's table. And it lasted for the 8 years. Solid, good table. I just got somebody who polished it, and it was working well. For the 8 years I was there, it never fell apart. And nothing happened in it, you know. But that was it. Then, number two item was the lodge where I lived. The lodge where I lived. The lodge where I lived, we had an issue. Again, the total budget to deal with that was 486 million. 486. No, there was a lot. It was a complete rebuilding, refurbishing, blah, blah, blah. And they had to buy, they've ordered some foreign chairs with even some nicknames. Maybe Versace chair, blah, blah, blah. Leather designer, say whatever. There must be somebody who can do chair and bed in Oka. Let's not waste our time. And I'm frank to it. If you have let me tell you, no matter how sophisticated your bed is, if you have reason to be awake, you'll be awake. No bed can make you sleep. You know. So I said to them, there must be somebody. The man I gave that contract today is employing over 150 people. Because I called him, I said, and he says it everywhere. You go and Google it, you see Chifu Dada. He can't come and say, Chifu Dada, go and do bed. Well, sleep. It's just bed. They say they want leather chair. Leather chair is chair covered by leather. Buy leather, cover this one. It's leather chair. Whoever doesn't want to sit in it, that is the person's problem. It's not my problem. You know. But it's not what is leather chair. It's covered by leather. So if you buy leather, cover it. Bring it. Leather chair. That's what will happen here. And that's it. So that is for me. So we use 81 million instead of 486. Again, it was number two. And I said, it's a problem. You know, number three item was I was saving money. And then extended by number four that we're building presidential lodge when the president doesn't live in Oka. Every state in Nigeria have a presidential lodge. You might not know. Every state. You build a property, maintain it in case if the president comes. So I stopped the one in Oka. I said, no, the president doesn't live here. And he will never live here. So I find it difficult actually because it became a problem for me. Because Obasanjo said, I must sleep in Oka. I'm coming to sleep with you, coming to stay with you. And I said, Your president can come today and go in the evening. You don't need to sleep. Because I have no place for you to sleep. And he said, No, you must sleep there. He wants to stay for 3 days. I said, Okay, no problem. I have a place I sleep. In my culture already, if a big man comes to your house, you leave your house for him. So I have a place I stay. So since you're coming, I'll leave my lodge for you. When you go, I come back. And his people were so kind. They came and looked at my lodge and said, It's good. I've just finished refurbishing it and everything. And he said, It's good. I said, Fine. Told my wife, Pack your things, let's go. Somebody hired for me. When he goes, we'll come back. And we vacated the place for him. And he stayed for 3 days. But that saved us nearly $1 billion we would have used to build a place where nobody has slept in today. If you reach there, if you go to Okada and look at the lodge, you see it here because you see the carcass that they've set up and I say, No. We will not build a place for the president here. It doesn't happen. We shut down all the guest houses. When I came, the governor had about 10 guest houses. What? Guests? No guests. I have a home, have to go home. So in doing this, it became problematic. It became a problem and everything. So, no hope. The hope is you do the right thing that is visible, measurable, and people will see it. And it's not always in doing things that are physical. Some of the things a governor or a leader can do is actually behavior, conduct. It is critical because that's what people learn from. Rascality and bad behavior have become a measure of power in our place. So people want people to be pushed. And when you're going, they're pushing people, they're creating this, you're driving on the road, people are constituting a nuisance. And I said to driver, why can't you just stay on this lane? Why do you have to go here and clear people? Is it not madness? The road is clear. Nobody's chasing. Why are you chasing other people away from the road? This is a road. This road is divided into two. Stay in your lane and behave like a human being. And if you see children going to school in the morning, you stop because you're a human being. The other person who is passing is a human being. So don't push people because it's going. I recall when I was in the bank, and I'm sure experienced it. We used to be on a building, a tall building, and I was chairman of the bank. And they have a list which they say chairman and directors. And then you come in the morning, people are queuing up, long way, trying to enter lift, and this one is just empty because chairman and director. And I said to them, listen, if I get up through here, wouldn't I be chairman again? If these people join me here, would they remove this post? The same thing. I wasn't used to arrange. I was a black governor. That was the first experience Jonathan saw with me when he was vice president. He came to a function in Anambra State. And we were going somewhere with the vice president, and people would be, I have a lot of people who side because I have a lot of big men in my state. So they would do it and we clear. And he said, Peter, what is that? I said, no, that's our policy here. Any big man who is driving, we clear for him to pass. He said, I said, Mr. Vice President, if I get down through the governor, so let them get there first, no problem. They haven't removed my post. But in this road, they are more important. And if you look at their car is set up because they have Rolls Royce, all these big vehicles, which are not driving, so just clear, quiet, let them pass. When they get there, we'll see it. But what am I trying to say? The behavior. You go to late, I stop people. If you come to church late, you stay at the back. That's where late come and stay. You can't come late and struggle and go in front and people are hailing you. It's madness. So it's not just about what you do. It's also your conduct, your behavior. That makes you a leader who is serving people. So that is the hope you're going to give them. That's it. Finally, court pay of National Assembly people. Well, let me be honest with you. I will not deal with that matter. As somebody who has been impeached, the things you don't. I have an uncle who told me, who is my uncle didn't go to school, but he's my greatest mentor. He always teaches me. He told me when I was being impeached, he said you cost it. I said why? He said that a cow will always eat or be able to feed himself when he goes into a farm. The reason why it's tied and giving food is that when he goes in there, he'll damage other things. So I should tie these people somewhere and feed them. And if they have something in their mouth, it won't be easy for them to be talking. So I should always make sure that I'm not using to say their salary is not the problem. There's other things that are problem. You deal with it one after the other so that you don't create. Listen, we will see. I can tell you what they are paid is not the problem. Salary of the governor is not the problem. You know, it is other things that follows it that is the problem. What I'm paid as governor doesn't cost an umbrella anything. But guess what causes problem? If I go to Abuja, 30 people followed me. Those 30 people, nobody, they have no reason to be in Abuja. Nobody invited them for any meeting. They will follow you. You use public money to buy their ticket. If you're one who buys ticket or charter plane for them, they get to Abuja. They're in a hotel, which is paid by government. They're not doing anything there. And you know when people are idle, they eat more. They're eating. The government is paying. And guess what? What is worse? They pay them allowance for doing nothing. These are the problem. That is where the problem is. These are the things you need to. When I tell people that my agency never went to Abuja with me, people say, how? I say, go and ask Onovo. He was the IG of police. I said, give me 2 police when I come to Abuja. Police is police, so I don't need to carry them from out. SSS, give me this. So, these are things. We had a lodge in Abuja. Anambra today is the only state without governor's office in Abuja, unless it started yesterday. What a lodge. My predecessor bought it for 1 billion naira. It was costing us 30-something million to keep. And I tell people, why would Governor of Anambra say I have a lodge in Abuja? Nobody came up with an answer. They said, because everybody have it. Because everybody. I said, why do we need it? What is the impact? This is part of what is keeping the office of governor. I go to Abuja, they will give my cook 50,000 to cook for me. And he will cook all sorts of things. And I said, why are you cooking? They know. But the buffet, as at that time in Hilton, is 5,000. So why do we have to pay somebody 50 with plate, with everything, with salary, with all that, when I can just go here and pay 5,000? What is even worse? Everywhere I go, they give me food for free. So I don't even need to cook. Everywhere. Everywhere I come in, governor, they were so happy to feed me. It's like I'm here now, and I tell people say to me, how are you going to do in America? I said, let me tell you. Do you know whenever I travel, I don't buy food. Everywhere I go, they give me food. So, time buying food is there. I told Mike today. I was talking with him today. I said, Mike, I don't buy food. Because everywhere I go, there's food. They even throw it their way. So, I can choose to eat for 1 year without cooking. You know? So in my house, wife cooks everything, of course. I haven't lived in England, but I have one thing I tell people. This is personal life now. I don't stay with house help. It makes people lazy. That's my thinking. So, My wife knows he can cook. So if I get it free, why will you want to? So this is a critical thing. Behavior is a critical, it's important. Going to reduce salaries of National Assembly is not our problem. We have huge problem. Go and generate power. Go and make the place productive. Go and do the right things. And you as the leader, please do what you're preaching. Let people see it visibly. You might not achieve 100% the result. But people want to see 100% effort. We want to know that you wake up every day thinking about us. We want to, and where there's a problem, communicate. The job of a leader is communication. Tell us what is wrong, so we can and listen and learn. Nobody knows everything, especially the leader. Anybody who knows everything is an idiot. You should listen and learn from other people. So if you listen and learn and know what ABCD, you can change. Professor Pat Tom is here. He's a professor. I can tell he knows more than I know. We have a difference. It might be more, I have people, it might be more understanding of people than me and everything. You know, I used to tell my wife, people go to my wife to complain about something because they know they will get it from her. And when they come to me and he said, I said, can't you see the difference? When we arrive here in the village and everything, everybody comes to you. Why don't they come to me? Because they know I'm the one who has the money. So why are they going to you who don't have the money? Why do you? Because they think you can listen to them and give it to them. So he comes to take money from me and give to people. I say, but why would they go to you who they know you don't have the money? And they leave me who will give you the money to give them. Because by the time they come to tell me that story, I won't listen to you. You must have done something for me to pay you. So when you finish, I say, so what did you do? And I require this money to pay you. You just want me to give you money for doing nothing. No, it will not work. You know. So they go to the person who is part to listen to them. To what do you do for a living? He says he doesn't do anything. That he has no job. I say, okay, come, I'll give you a job. He won't come. Because he wants to live for free. And I won't give you money. Because that's not how people make money. But we have differences. Finally, thank you. Remember what I said. Next year's election will not be based on tribe, ethnicity, because no tribe buys food cheaper. No tribe gets it better. It will not be based on religion, not based on tongue, not based on any bias. Next year's election, my dear people, campaign, talk to people, will be based on character we can trust, competence, capacity, commitment to commence doing the right thing. We can't continue with this abuse. It will take its revenge on our children and our grandchildren. Thank you and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizers of this event, on behalf of all Michiganders, on behalf of our friends from across the country and those that came from Nigeria, we extend our most sincere thanks to our president in waiting and his entourage. President Obi, we Michiganders salute you. We Michiganders love you. And we Michiganders hope and pray for your success. But hold on, ladies and gentlemen, hold on, all of you. His Excellency will come down here and he will take pictures. He will take pictures in rows, please. In rows, please. Let me call the first. Okay. So, all of you sit down.